Hey,
Holy shit!
I just had an idea. Let's film ourselves having sex.
That's a great idea. This is your best idea ever. Hello, and welcome to an evening with Annie and Jay.
Good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen. This week we've got two big films to look at, one of which I found to be nothing but awkward, and the other one I found to have a few flaws, yet still very enjoyable. There's so much time and so little to review. Wait, strike that, reverse it. First up is Sex Tape. No, not your parents' sex tape that they keep locked in the attic. No, I'm talking about the movie bearing the title Sex Tape. A suburban couple is looking to find that spark that they once had several years ago. They get the idea of making their own sex tape to freshen things up a bit. Hijinks ensue, however, as the tape is accidentally leaked onto some iPads via a content sharing program, and thus they have to find every iPad that's synced to theirs and get rid of the evidence. This movie is from the same director of Bad Teacher, and like Bad Teacher, this movie is not funny and extremely awkward. 10 minutes in and I wanted to quit. I couldn't finish it in one sitting. Now why don't we start with our cast? Now, here's the thing. I love the actors in this movie, and I've seen them in better stuff that really makes their talent shine. But this, they're given nothing good to work with. Even the comic greats like Jason Segel and Rob Corddry are just painful to watch. But I don't blame them. The script and direction doesn't allow them to be funny. And the humor they try to get across is dated, and they try way too hard to drag out certain jokes just for a laugh. All the humor just comes across as awkward. For example, Rob Lowe's character has paintings all around his house with his face superimposed on famous Disney characters. That's not funny. That's kind of creepy. Oh yeah, can't have a bad comedy without product placement. I'm sure Apple is proud of their plug. Now, with a title like Sex Tape, you'd think this would be a pretty raunchy movie, say along the lines of Don John, right? Actually, no. This is perhaps the most muted sex comedy I've ever seen. And as I said before, the racy stuff they do show isn't sexy. It's awkward as hell with weird close-ups that just make you cringe. Oh, and there's supposedly extremely raunchy tape? The reveal of it is extremely anticlimactic. An hour and a half for just a cheap punchline. I will give the movie this. I did not expect to see Jack Black cameo in this movie as the CEO of YouPorn. I'm going to let that sink in. I am sorry. You know what, surprise cameo or not, this movie was just a chore to get through. There's nothing here but a waste of time. Not even Viagra could get this movie up to something greater. Thank God it was only an hour and a half. Now that we got that piece of junk out of the way, let's continue. Now, also playing this week at the JC Cinema is The Purge, Anarchy. The sequel to the sleeper hit of 2013, once a year, all crime becomes legal in the United States for 12 hours. Now, in those 12 hours, a group of people find themselves out in the city, and they have to find a way to survive the night that's filled with maniacal crazies thirsty for blood. Now, the first Purge movie I thought had some clever ideas going for it. Looking back on it now, however, it's just another home invasion movie. The Purge Anarchy, however, manages to turn it up a notch and actually improve on itself. One of the things I found noteworthy was that this movie has a lot more atmosphere. As opposed to just taking place in a house, now there's a whole city to explore. This works great as we get to see how dire the Purge system is for those who are unprepared. This is what Gotham would look like, for example, if all of Arkham's patients managed to break free and take over. So, Arkham City, I suppose? Maybe? I don't know. Another noteworthy change I found refreshing was the cast. Now this time around we get a young couple and a mother and daughter who find themselves trapped outside for the night. The only one who seems to have the ability to protect them is a former police sergeant named Leo Barnes, played by Frank Grillo, who's out participating in the Purge for his own personal reasons. This guy is a badass. He's like the perfect 80s action hero who somehow managed to find himself in this movie. And it's really Frank Grillo's performance that really shines through. He's got a mean and bitter outlook on things, yet when things get crazy, nothing can stop this one-man army. Now, just like the first movie, it is just as violent and bloody as ever. You'll see people attacking each other with everything from machetes to a Gatling gun hidden in a truck trailer. What's nice though is that because there's a bigger area, there's a lot more to see. The action can get pretty tense and frightening sometimes, and there are even a few moments that reminded me of The Most Dangerous Game. Of course, with Halloween right around the corner, I think this sort of scary action is warranted, don't you think? Now, the one major problem that unfortunately returns is the political commentary that this movie tries to convey. The methods and rules of the Purge are still not explained fully, and there are some plot holes that don't make sense. For example, the Purge is supposed to apply to everyone, unless of course you've got money and or have a high government position. Now the high government officials I understand, as they mentioned it during the Purge announcement, but why does Rich Whitey get a pass, Also, apparently any weapon can be used, but just no biological or nuclear weapons. It's just bad manners. There's also a resistance movement trying to bring down the Purge system, which I think works well, but I don't think it's shown enough. I don't know, maybe we'll see more of it if they make a sequel. Now, I do think that these elements do hold it back from making the Purge Anarchy great, but the stuff that they did improve upon from the first movie was very refreshing. I think that this franchise is moving in the right direction. Let's hope it keeps that way. If you're looking for something that harkens back to the cheesy 80s action movies while also throwing in that dash of terror and fright, I think that this movie fits the bill quite nicely. Oh, and as for your movie requests, yeah, I'm gonna need you to follow me at Hair Beverage on Twitter to do that. Oh, and if you could follow the rest of the Mason Cable Network as well, that'd be great.
This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of the annual Purge. At the siren, all crime, including murder, will be legal for 12 hours. All emergency services will be suspended. Your government thanks you for your participation.
What is this?